Welcome back. So I'd like to invite you once again to connect with the here and now. So closing the eyes, feel the feet on the floor, the body supported by the earth or the chair, then inviting you to sense into the body how the breath is in this moment. Noting and observing it gently with love. What is your inner weather pattern today? And then inviting you to hear these words, a poem that is on the wall of Mother Teresa's children's home in Calcutta. And it is by Kent Keith. People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfishness and ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. When you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the world the best you've got anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it is between you and your God. It was never between you and them anyway. So sense into the breath, this being here, and what that poem, those words mean for you. One of the things that comes up for me is about equanimity, and that ultimately equanimity is having the balance of the mind, not getting attached to other people's opinions about you being a certain way, so that you then have the courage to go forward, and not being averse to maybe hearing things that are not so helpful or maybe critical. So it's about having the balance of the mind, neither getting attached to nor averse to. And in that, those words, there are always going to be people that judge you not being good enough, forget the work that you've done. And what I love about it is that ultimately you can let lots of things stop you from doing what is within your heart and your passion and part of the reason you are put on this earth. There are lots of reasons not to get out there and give your essence to the world. Fear of being judged, fear of not being good enough. But then at the end of it all, what does it matter what anybody else actually thinks? What really matters is what you think, what you can do to be the best and to give your essence to the world, whatever that is. So when we look at what equanimity is actually, it is that balance of the mind. It's a state of stability, psychological stability and composure where whatever you're faced with, whatever challenges the external world brings, or even the internal world brings, that you can maintain that sense of balance, equal poise, not getting attached to again and not being resistant to. And so that's whether we experience pain or emotions or other things that kind of can set us off that even keel. So it may be different for you, but there are certainly quite likely things in your life where you lose that sense of balance of the mind. And the word equanimity actually comes from the Latin equus, which actually means to level, to be equal. And when we think about equanimity, that piece of how can I be equal to no matter what is happening in my life? And yet sometimes people have this fear that if I move into this state of equanimity, that it'll actually lead to apathy, so that I won't care. I become detached from what's happening, and I don't care then, that there's a sense of, well, what's the point? So apathy is really a lack of feeling or emotion or interest and concern with what is happening. It's really more of a state of indifference and suppressing your emotions, whereas equanimity is about not being attached to them. It's being able to sit back and observe it as if it's happening to somebody else, so you don't have that same level of emotional anxiety or emotional complexity when we're caught in something, but that we can step back and see without judgment what is happening. And sometimes when we suspend our judgment, we don't actually know the outcome, that maybe what is happening right now is actually for a better benefit for us individually or as a society or as a species. So really we only know these things with hindsight. As I say, hindsight is crystal clear vision, but we don't have the benefit of hindsight until much later. So how can we bring this sense of equanimity, this sense of ease and poise with what is happening right now in your world, whatever that is, so that you can go and do the thing anyway, so that you can be happy anyway, even if you fear that somebody else might be jealous, so that you can build, even though you fear maybe somebody might destroy it or not think that it is good enough. So it's about coming back to those seeds of potential we've talked about. How can you tap into them anyway, even in the face that maybe you fear that somebody might judge it, whereas actually all that is really happening there is you're judging it yourself. You're judging whatever it is so harshly that you don't even go. You wait for the perfect. And in waiting for the perfect, there's a saying, perfect is the enemy of good. Perfect, when we wait to do the perfect thing, to be the perfect person, to have all the perfect knowledge, we wait and we wait and we wait, because there's a sense that we will never have enough. We will never be good enough to actually go out and give that meager bit that we have to the world. And whatever shape that comes in or form that is, better to put it out into the world and get feedback and learn from it. And in that process of creation, we come to know ourselves a bit better. In that process of putting something out there, we move beyond that sense of just me judging it, and we get to a point of doing it anyway. Do what is in your heart anyway. So my question for you today is, what makes your heart sing? What, when you are doing it, do you lose all sense of time? What, when you are doing it, do you lose all sense of needing to eat? What, when you are doing it, do you feel in a state of flow where you are aligned to your every essence within you, and that it comes easily, that it flows from you easily, and it is not a lot of effort? Because when we step into that space of being aligned to our truth, our purpose, our potential, what we do comes easily. It is no longer difficult, and all that is difficult drops away. But first we must learn to get the courage to do it anyway, whatever it is. Get the courage to do it anyway, and observe those fears of judgment are simply your own mind states projecting a fear of not being good enough, not being ready to give whatever it is to the world. So, what makes your heart sing? Bring that to the world.